Alright, so we are on our way to see my buddy, and he's going to be taking us to Podium. So, should be a fun day. It's more of a cars and coffee event, and there may be some track time. I don't know, but I'll tell you this. We're going to roll up in a V12 Aston Martin Vantage V12 manual, so that's going to be a lot of fun. We got the V12 and the V8, guys. Alright guys, so we're at Podium, rolled up in our V12, and we're parked to a 4.3 Vantage as well, so it's kind of cool to see two of those Vantages of that era. Pretty sick. I don't know what today's going to be like, but I see a lot of Lambos and Ferraris and 992 GT3 RSs. I can't wait. So I'm going to flip the camera around, we're going to go find some cool cars, right?
This one's got the longer straightaway.
It does. Alright guys, sorry, we had to bounce, so not much car stuff here, but we're going to ride the Aston. Alright guys, my friend's going to let me drive his Aston Martin V12, his Vantage V12, so let's go for a ride.
It's so weird getting in the passenger seat.
It's so weird being in the driver's seat.
Okay, here we have Tom Donahue driving a V12 for the first time ever.
Oh my gosh, it feels so good. Steering's nice. Watch out for much cheaper cars. The shifter feels really good, very direct.
Yep.
That is for sure. That is always the chief complaint with a BMW, is rubbery. And I think when people watch videos, and I think they hear a commentator or a viewer talking about a rubbery shifter, I don't think they really understand what they mean until you drive something with a more direct shifter feel. Then it's like, it is rubbery feeling. It's very direct. You can find it very easy, and it's almost like it helps push in itself.
Yeah.
So far, easy. I've never driven in this car before, ever. And I don't think we were riding clutches or anything like that. It's pretty easy. I think easier than the 993, the clutch.
I agree. The 993 clutch, because of the positioning of the pedals, is more challenging.
It is. Now what's different is I'm not used to a car this wide. And this one's small compared to your other one.
Exactly.
The brakes are very sharp.
Yeah, they grab.
They grab incredibly hard. Now, are these steel or ceramic?
Ceramic.
Okay, so here's what's interesting. When I drove the 991 GT3 RS, it has ceramic brakes. You have to push so hard, and this you don't. They grab instantly, which I think makes it a better braking experience for the road. Because when I drove the GT3, and I wish I had filmed it, when I stepped on the brakes, I thought I had literally no brakes.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize how hard you had to push the brakes on a GT3. Here, you can ride these brakes just like you do steel brakes.
Yeah.
You can just drag them and they stop. So that's nice. Holy cow. Okay, that was third gear at 2,500 and it had no problem pulling. Yes, so the four-cylinder E30 M3. I don't care how hard you're trying. You're not going to keep up. My E46 M3 is not going to keep up. None of that stuff. Wow. It rides nice. I like a firm ride, but I like it to be compliant. It's not bottoming out. It's not crashing. It's not doing any of that stuff. So I'd rather it be a little on the firm side than soft side for that reason. I just feel more connected to the road, and I feel more connected with the car if it rides a little firmer. I see what you mean when I was observing you shifting that one time with elbow placement.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's probably the only complaint thus far.
It's not quite right.
That rear end's playful.
Yeah.
I would say if you're coming from a Honda Civic and you jump into a car like this and you step on it too hard, you're going to be buying someone a new car. Yeah, this is effortless. This is, wow. The power, I can't legally like show like,
Right.
even in 6th gear it pulls.
It pulls.
But when I was on the on-ramp there and I gave a little bit of gas, I don't know if you felt it, the rear end was moving.
It steps out a little bit.
And I think the interior is stunning. So what do they call this interior color?
I think it's Savannah.
It's beautiful. And so what's the exterior color?
Midnight blue.
Woo. Beautiful. How much power does this make? Do you know?
It's about 500 horsepower.
Wow. It's the torque.
V8 was 420 horsepower, but you're right, this is the torquier engine.
And I think what's fascinating is you don't have to rev this car out.
No.
I think I only revved it to 5 and that's plenty.
Yeah.
I don't, what is red line?
This is like 7,500, I think.
Wow. Man. I can see why you wanted to buy another Aston Martin of this era. And specifically the V12.
I think the instrumentation is beautiful. I like the analog gauges.
I love that they sweep the other way.
The opposite sweep is cool.
Yeah, very tight steering. And this is a GT car, right?
Yeah.
I don't know why people are like, oh, I would get a sports car, not a GT car. And it's like, I don't know that you know what you're talking about. Like, this is a sports car, I guess, that's coded as a GT car, but this car will shit and get.
Yeah, the people that don't like Aston Martins aren't ever going to buy them anyway.
Jeez. I would say this is perfectly capable, like on a track. Maybe it's a little heavier in the front versus a V8, but I think I've been lucky to drive a lot of cars, maybe not as many as you or some others, but I would say this is an incredible car and I get it. And I get why you probably like this more than your newer Vantage V8. For me, it's the size.
It's the size.
When I first got your Vantage V8, I couldn't see. The hood is so long, it's so wide. Here I can just barely see the hood here. We're in the lowest seating position. I'm 5'8", and I think it's perfect. I like to sit as low as I can. I don't like to sit high. That's probably my chief complaint with the E46 M3 is the seat sits too high, so I feel less connected with the car.
Because you're starting out with a car that's a sedan or a family sedan.
Yeah. I think they missed the mark on that. Of course, the brakes, but this is the perfect package. It's beautiful. Material quality is exceptional.
Yeah.
The brakes are amazing. The shifter, stunning. It shifts so well. It's so direct. There's no ambiguity with the shifting. That's what I struggle with sometimes with my E30 is, was that third? Was that fifth? Where are we at? I don't like that so much. And I think that's why I want to go the 911 route, or one day the Aston Martin route is a car that's more connected and speaks to me. I can really push it. Like this car, this would be fun on a track. Like if we had the option to take this on the track today, that would have been a really neat experience.
Yeah.
Because it can do it.
Absolutely.
But that was a neat experience feeling the power back there. And I didn't even give it full throttle. Because I'm not going to do that in your car. But just giving it half throttle is like, okay, the rear will move on you.
Yeah.
And that's what traction control on, I imagine.
Yeah.
I think you have to have some driver skill. I think you have to have some restraint in this car. If you don't, it's not going to last very long because it's going to be out there somewhere.
Yeah, I just love the materials and the workmanship that goes into making the interior as nice as it is. And like I said, the gauges, I think, just look beautiful.
I mean, the stitching lines are perfectly straight.
Not having this big screen in the middle of your dash.
The BMW, like and even Porsche now, it's obnoxious.
Yeah, the 992 is all screens.
Just can't do it. I think there's beauty in simplicity, and Aston Martin hit it on the head here. You know what also is really nice about this car? I've never driven this car before, but the blind spots actually aren't that bad.
Yeah.
You can actually, there's not too many obstructions. Yeah, the rear window's a little small, but it's not a big deal. I think being that the B pillars aren't present, that it's pillarless, helps a lot with blind spots.
Yeah.
This car masks speed, that is for sure. You're going a lot faster than you think you're going. I'm going speed limit now, but it is much better without the aftermarket exhaust. As much as I love an exhaust,
yeah, that was too much drone.
Way too much drone. We're gonna do a light fourth gear pull. We're all clear. Eric, that's nuts. That's absolutely nuts. Two grown men in the car, a slight fourth gear pull, and it shoved you in your seat.
Little Saturday afternoon fun.
That is great. This is so much faster than my M3. So much faster. But with my M3, it's quick, but it's all on the top end. This is an immediate just hit down low, and it never ends. The torque, is that your kind of experience?
Yes.
It's torque for days.
Yep.
Where my M3, I don't have torque. It's just revs. You don't need to drop down low to get power like you do out of an E46 M3 or an E30 or. Wow. Yep, I get why you bought this car. And now what's frustrating is it's like, obviously I can't afford a V12, but it was like a 4.3.
Yeah.
It's not going to be as fast.
Worth driving though.
Yeah.
See if you like it.
Now, is the pedal like the pedal in the V8? So some of the people said like in the 4.3 that you really got to push the pedal down to get the power. You've had the 4.7. Do you feel that the throttle pedal feels the same? Or is it hard with the V12 V8?
It's been a few years since I drove the 4.7, so it'd be hard for me to say, but I don't remember it being a lot different.
I think that something I read with the 4.3s was like my E46 M3 with the sport button. Without the sport button on, the pedal feels heavy and you gotta push it really hard.
Yeah.
I like it with the sport button on, but here, I think probably because the V12 produces so much torque.
Yeah.
That you don't notice it.
We have a sport button here too. We haven't put that on.
Where is this? Oh, okay.
Did you feel it on?
I did. I already thought sport was on, just how fast the car is. Yeah, 6th gear, just. I'm not mature enough for this car, Eric. I'm not.
I'm gonna turn sport off.
Oh, no, let's.
Leave it on?
I love sport. The car is mature, it has an elegance about it.
It's a beautiful car.
But for someone like me who's still a little immature, it's.
Beautiful car, super capable.
What spoke to me was the rear sliding out under slight acceleration. For me, I think if a car makes you giggle, then that's a good car. I don't think if you're not laughing or smiling or giggling, the car is for you. I think that's one of the things that I look at for a car is when I drive it, do I smile and laugh and giggle?
Yeah.
And then the sound. The sound is really important to me. And then looks. But I giggled instantly back there. That was fun.
Well, for me, the first thing is looks. It's got to look really good.
Yeah, which you hit it on the head with this one.
Got to like the colors.
Yep.
legit.
You got the trifecta with this car. That is for sure. The color is stunning, and it's the same color as your 4.7.
It is. Like,
Nice.
Surprisingly, it's almost an identical car to my 4.7, which I tried to buy back.
Yeah. But I think it was serendipitous.
But I ended up getting this car
Right.
instead, which is a better car.
I don't know if anyone else drives like that, but when I'm next to a tractor trailer or anywhere close, I would gladly get a speeding ticket just to get around the truck, because I just don't like being around them.
I agree.
It could have a blowout at any time. A rock could be thrown.
Yeah.
They can emergency maneuver. There's too many like variables. So I will gladly get a speeding ticket. But let's just say it went from 75 to 91 in 6th gear effortlessly. It wasn't too difficult. And that's the beauty of it. You do not really have to drop down.
You don't have to drop down.
It's just if you want to be a hoonigan and try to get the car to move around, then yes. But otherwise, so what's gas mileage like on this car with a V12?
It's a very impressive 14.5 miles per gallon average.
And that's like just kind of average driving, nothing.
Average driving.
Wow. So we could go single digits probably pretty easy in this car. I don't want to take it there, but I'm sure it's pretty easy if you're pushing it.
Yeah.
I get the V12. And it's hard for me to remember like your V8 with the turbo Mercedes engine.
Twin turbocharged. It also is about 500 horsepower. The horsepowers are about the same. I can't remember the torque differences.
Does that have more torque just because it's turboed, I guess?
I think it probably has more torque. I don't remember. I mean, it's just a heavier car, and it's a bigger car.
Yeah.
It feels. I feel the weight in that car, and I feel the heaviness. You know, going around turns. But I also feel like its limits are further out there than the limits on this car.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's all the modern technology that goes into a 21 versus an 11.
That's true.
Same with the Ferrari 550. The technology in that is quite limited, and you feel that when you push it hard.
Now that's a car I'm excited to get in.
Yeah, that's the next one. When you try that, you'll see there's a lot of similarities between that and this, but then there are some very big differences in the way it feels. And if you think the clutch pedal on this is firm,
yeah,
the Ferrari will be stretching your leg pretty hard.
Wow.
That is a very firm clutch and a very firm gas pedal.
Interesting.
So kind of equally, there's effort involved in driving that car that there isn't in this car.
I'll be excited to put like GoPros and do a review on this car, and then like do one on the 550, and then like it'd be fun to like sit down and have a conversation, and like you and I debate and talk about like 550 Vantage V12.
Because you really need to drive them side by side to notice the differences. Because when I drive one day and one the next day, it's not as clear.
Yeah.
But there are significant differences that are mostly attributable to the age differences in the cars.
Right.
It's just the level of technology that's involved in every aspect of the handling and whatever.
And it's a 99? Yeah. It's a 99, the 550?
It's a 99.
Okay. For a 99, it is stunning. Yeah. It is absolutely one of the most beautiful cars ever. And to think like same eras like E46 M3, stuff like that, but just stylistically light years ahead.
Yeah.
This is a hot spot for cops, isn't it?
Well, it's a nice stretch of smooth road. It's very tempting to get on it.
Show everybody the view. Like this is our view, like going home. Yeah. And I think that's what's nice. And I need to do a better job when we're out driving. Is like we get to go out and drive in these canyons and roads. And I can never go back east.
Sometimes you never take it in because you're so focused on the drive itself.
us with really fun roads. We can avoid straight roads. We can find curvy roads. It's not like Florida or back home in the Northeast.
Well, the Northeast has a lot of good roads too. You have to get away from the cities.
That's the key. I would love to go to the Tail of the Dragon sometime.
Yeah.
Drive that. That would be really neat.
Yeah.
There's some stuff like Western Maryland, Cumberland out there that's fun.
Yeah.
But you feel special in this car.
Yeah.
And it was neat earlier, like the truck driver, before you even approached the truck, he was hanging out the window giving a thumbs up. And you would think, oh my gosh, right? Like prototypical truck driver, he probably is like a pickup guy, like doesn't care about exotics. Loving an Aston Martin. So respect. Yeah, this car got a lot of attention. And the big giveaway, even if you don't see V12 anywhere, it's the hood. It tells you. Yeah, it's effortless. This car, I would probably go to jail here. I'm not yet mature enough to drive this car. Because the E46 M3 is slower than this car, and to get that same speed, I have to be way high.
Gotta get the revs up.
Gotta get the revs up. And because of that, you look like a fool at times, and I don't always want to look like a fool.
Yeah.
Here, you don't look like a fool. It's so effortless with the torque. But the car also, like I said earlier, masks speed. There are times when I don't feel like I'm doing 90 miles per hour. So if I was to be pulled over right now, I would probably and authentically tell the police officer I did not know I was speeding.
Right.
Because it doesn't feel like it. I don't know if you feel that way or...
Oh yeah, I have to constantly check the speedometer to make sure I'm not going too fast.
And literally using cars around me to judge speed, because if I just put my foot where I think it should go, we would be doing 100 and passing everyone, and I wouldn't even know it. But on an empty road, yeah, I would be doing 100 and not knowing it. But I like the steering. It's good, really good steering.
Steering is really great feel to it.
It's got a heaviness to it, but not too heavy.
Yeah.
I'm not a big light steering wheel fan.
So I would say the steering on this is better than the 4.7. 4.7 was a lighter steering. This has more weight to it.
Yeah.
Which I think feels better to me.
Yep. I really like it. I can feel what the tires are doing. That's important, but it's not overly done.
It is a great blend of luxury and performance. I mean, that Porsches do the performance stuff better than anybody, but the car itself isn't.
It looks just everybody says buy is
super luxurious.
I'm not used to this. I don't get looked at in my M3. Nobody cares. If you drive an Aston Martin, people are going to pay attention. And I imagine when you're 550, people probably pay even more attention.
Yeah.
Simply because it's a Ferrari.
Yeah. Someone in Oro Valley pulled up to me and asked me if that's the new Corvette. I said, no, it's a 99 Ferrari.
How do you interpret that? Like, what feelings are going through your body as someone tells you that?
I try not to be insulted. I just think it's funny. They obviously are interested in cars, but don't really know much about cars.
Do you do like the, it's a Ferrari, pal, more than you can afford?
When I take the Ferrari out and get gas in it, I always have people walk over to me at the gas pump and want to take pictures of it. I think that's funny too.
So do you feel like this flies under the radar a little bit more, even though it's still an exotic?
Well, I haven't had it as long, so I'm not going to say that. I still get a lot of attention in this. I get a lot of attention in the other Aston Martin too, because it's sort of outlandish styling. It's in your face.
Well, it's true. The other day you were driving on Dove Mountain and we were coming from opposite directions. I already had my hand out because I could see that car from a mile away. It has such road presence, and it's because it's so wide.
So wide.
And the fenders, the front fenders are so sculpted and arched, and
like about both eras of the Aston Martin Vantage is that they didn't have a spoiler that flips up in the back. It's built into the car itself. And I think that just looks so much more elegant. It seems more thought out to me than having some piece of metal pop up at 55 miles an hour.
I so agree. No, this is spectacular. I really appreciate the experience. I was cool just sitting in the passenger seat going for a ride. I love cars so much, I don't care if I'm in the driver's seat or the passenger seat. It doesn't matter to me. Probably the driver's seat is more, because we both enjoy driving.
Yeah.
But I think for me, any opportunity to be in a car like this.
Well, we talk about cars so much, I think it's important that you have a frame of reference.
Yeah.
Because our cars are very different. Very different.
But I still love the E30 for just driving the piss out of it. This I'm going to jail if I drive the piss out of it. And I don't want to. It's a car that's so expensive. And I wouldn't do that to you anyways. But the E30, yeah. I'm going to put my foot in that and I'm going to rev it 7100 all day long. And that's what I do. And I'm probably going to have to rebuild the engine a whole lot faster than everybody else. But I'm okay with that. Have you ever hiked that?
I've not been on Petro Peak.
The last part is a little sketchy. It's all cables, and if you mess it up, you might die. But it's a thrill. But I'd say this is more of a thrill.
It's a cool landmark when you're coming home.
It is.
Coming home from Phoenix, you see Picacho Peak, you know you're almost there.
I see some of where we live over there.
Yeah, I can see the backside of the Tortolitas, and I can see the top side of Mount Lemmon.
I do want to get up to Mount Lemmon and do a drive. I do genuinely enjoy that drive, but it's got to be an early morning before it gets too busy.
Before the traffic is up. I can't say that I've ever had a clean run up of Mount Lemmon.
I've had a couple. One of the best times was Craig and Jeff, who had a 135, and we were rolling well over 100 miles an hour. And we just got lucky. No sheriffs anywhere. Can't tell if this is a compliment me or not. You never know with like a Tahoe.
Yeah, Suburban or Tahoe.
Never been there before.
Where you get to pay to feed their animals.
Yeah. The only thing
it's
that
a great business model.
Yeah. The only thing that ever interested me was that monster truck out there. I just wanted to go for a ride on that. The rest I could care less about. There are so many trucks on the interstate. I appreciate why they're on the interstate because that's how I get my parts.
I think that Suburban is too old to be a cop. They usually have new stuff.
You can't keep up with us anyways.
Let's not try to outrun the police.
It's a quick way to lose my therapist license.
I'm not funding your ticket.
Hey, no. Yeah, you can get one.
You forgot to sign the waiver.
Right? You do. I feel like you do need to sign a waiver. The car is so fast. Like, I knew it was going to be fast.
Yeah.
But
when you thought, oh, it's just some luxury.
Right. I expected to have like some body roll and the kind of pitch.
There's no roll.
It is a taut car with ample power. I think for me, I think the brake, I can't tell if the brakes are more impressive or if the acceleration is more impressive. What do you think?
I think the brakes are, to me, are slightly more impressive because the acceleration, like you can get in a lot of cars, and this is the only car I have with ceramic brakes, and so it's a new experience. On the drive that we did last week, it was clear there's absolutely no fade in the brakes at all, and they do grab really nicely.
Try to feel foot placement to see like how heel toe would go.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a heel toe guy. I wish I was, but for the kind of driving that I'm doing most of the time, it doesn't make any sense for me.
I think probably like an hour practice, I think we'd have it down. Yeah, it's just feeling the gas pedal over here, just getting used to where it's at.
Yeah.
And then, because the brake pedal's a little bit narrower, you can only put so much here.
The footwell is fairly tight in this car, so the pedals are small, which does take some getting used to. And if you have big feet, I think it might be awkward. I don't, you don't, so it's okay.
If you're 5'8", this car is perfect. Absolutely perfect. And I have a lot of room here.
Tons of headroom.
If I were to wear a helmet, it's not a problem. You're taller than me. It might be a little bit tighter.
Yeah, not really. Plenty of room. Seats are comfy, but they're not overly supportive. The Ferrari seats are way more supportive.
Yeah,
but less comfy too. They're also harder back seats that I think on a long drive would be tiring. These are very comfy.
Yeah, like I'm a 31-inch waist. Like it holds me really well.
You can feel the bolsters, but they're not gripping you in. Whereas the Ferrari seats are gripping your waist.
I can see if you're like 250, it might be a little difficult, but.
Well, that's interesting because a lot of these Aston Martins that are on the market, you'll notice that the seats are very worn, and it's usually because the driver was heavy and a little bit too wide for the seat.
You can see like this car is made for someone a little bit thinner. The seats.
Yeah.
But I love the view. Fantastic view everywhere, and it's not me being hyperbolic or anything, but I genuinely feel like I can see anywhere I really need to in this car.
It's good visibility.
It really does. For an exotic?
I think it does have better visibility than the new one.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
The new one, you really feel like you're in a letterbox size window.
Now, do you know what the 0 to 60 times are? And I know we don't think that's very important, but I am sort of curious because I haven't looked it up before.
I don't, off the top of my head, because I don't care that much. But I think this is mid fours, and I think the Ferrari is very similar to that, and maybe right on top of it, and the V8 Vantage is slightly quicker, maybe low fours. It's not under 4. It'd be under 4 with an automatic.
Yeah, this is definitely a low to mid 4-second car. The 60. I think for me, it's more that 20 and beyond, or 10 and beyond.
I like the 70 to 90. This car is right up there with the other two.
This V12 is like, sure, no problem, hang on. Yeah, I'll just gracefully and gently put you in the back of your seat. And if you want something a little more aggressive, put me in 5th or 4th, and put in 6th gear. Car makes me laugh. Even if I'm not laughing out loud, I am laughing like a child inside. And it's the type of car where I would struggle to keep the fuel tank full, because it's fun to just keep doing that. It's just because who doesn't love that feeling of being put in the seat? I think that's one of the big things for us is, oh man. So in this price point, what are other cars that someone would consider buying?
I mean, the price point for what this car is now? Or?
Yeah.
Well, probably Cayman GT4. Base level 911, maybe. I don't know that you could get one for what I paid for this. Maybe a Ferrari 360 you could get for around the same price, although with an F1 transmission, not with a manual transmission. Manual would be considerably more money than this, and it wouldn't be as fast. Well, the other thing we haven't talked about is it's extremely practical with the big hatch.
Yes. It's where my backpack is right now.
We can put 2 sets of golf clubs in the back and go anywhere we want. When I had the 4.7, we used to take weekend trips with golf clubs and bags, and no problem. Throw them behind the seats.
our elbows aren't touching as we're crammed in the car.
911s, you can't do any of that.
No.
I mean, you have a little frunk, but not much else.
The Cayman, you definitely get a little more personal with the passenger or
Caymans
driver.
are a little tighter. And the hatch is not as usable because it's very tight to the suspension. The suspension struts come up.
Yeah.
So you can't put things on top of that too easily.
You know what we did put though in the hatch of the GT4 was his front splitter. It barely fits because when I replaced his front splitter, he scratched it, broke it. But he's able to finagle it in there, which was shocking because it's really long.
Yeah.
But I don't see how you can put golf clubs in there.
Yeah, it's not tall enough between the top of the struts and the window.
Exactly. I still think I would buy this, and I was telling you earlier, I think I can be a little juvenile at times, in that like I kind of like to be seen in the car sometimes, and I feel more seen in this car versus like the Cayman.
Well,
some of that's just shallowness on my part.
So the V12s are, as you know, they're quite rare.
Yeah.
I spent a long time looking for one. I only saw, over the time I was looking, I only saw 2 or 3 that were in colors that were even remotely interesting to me. Most of them were black.
Right.
Black on black, which for Arizona just doesn't work. So it's one thing to say you want one at this price point. It's another thing to actually find one at this price point.
Yeah.
So I feel very fortunate to have found it and actually been in a position to buy it when it was available, because they're scarce.
And as well kept as this is, especially with the dash, and I know you were telling me that...
Right, so this car was in a collection of 40 cars.
Whoa.
And the man passed away, his wife gave the collection to an auction company, and the auction company sold all the cars in one afternoon. And I was just happened to get a tickler on my email that this car was coming available, and I registered the bid, and I put my bid in and got it. So it was luck.
I remember you texted me, you're like, I just bought an Aston Martin V12, and I was like, what?
Yeah, not exactly something I was expecting to do, especially since I had just bought the Ferrari.
I think that's what's so fun about being friends with you, and I like being friends with you beyond cars, because I do genuinely enjoy talking and hanging out with you, but it's fun to experience these things with you, and then you kind of bring me into that, and share, like, I'm looking at this, or I bought this, and you let me drive your cars.
Well, the chase for the cars is almost as much fun as getting the cars sometimes. The Ferrari was a long chase where you have all these anxieties about the cost of maintenance of a Ferrari, and there's all these horror stories out there, and you wonder what you're getting when you get one, because people are not always fully disclosing the history. So it ends up, at some point you have to just dive into the pool, and I feel with the 550 I got, I did all right. I estimated that there would be up to $15,000 worth of work on that car after I bought it, and I was right. It was $15,000.
I remember that purchase was a lot of going back and forth.
That was a lot of anxiety,
I remember going on hikes and watching auctions that you were bidding on, and watching with like the stress in my stomach of where's this going? Because I become invested in it, and it's exciting for me to watch this.
Well, the range of pricing on 550s to me is quite remarkable. I mean, you could find a 550 with, say, 50,000 miles on it that might sell for 120 or 125,000, and then there'll be another car that with exact same equipment, exact same colors, but has 5,000 miles on it, and it'll sell for 220,000. really tight, you kind of could see based on condition and mileage exactly where you're
Was that
going to be.
noise you were talking about? I swear I just heard
that was
it.
a bigger noise.
Oh, okay.
I think that was the truck behind us.
I was like, crap, I'm driving and I swear I heard something metallic.
Well, if we hear anything metallic when we pull out, then we'll check it out.
I didn't see anything in the road, so.
No.
The clutch, I'm getting used to it now. But it's not heavy, it's just firm. Like it's actually, let me take that back. It communicates to you. It's a very like on-off kind of switch. I think that's the difference. Where sometimes in my E30, and a lot of people complain about this with BMWs, is like, where's the engagement point?
The engagement point is wide.
It's very wide, and then sometimes you're like, well, crap, now I'm riding the clutch a little bit because I couldn't quite feel it in my foot or my leg where the engagement point was.
Well, the hardest thing for me with all these cars is the clutch. Every clutch is different. Every pedal feel is different. Pedal locations are different. The action is different certainly on the 993.
I mean, look at this. This is tight. It's like a bolt action. It's like click. I swear it is.
Yeah, I heard
You're
that.
right. But I think it's a heat shield back there.
Yeah, we'll have to check that out.
Everyone forgets there's a really expensive carbon fiber splitter on the front. So if anyone's like, why are you going so slow over that? Because I don't have the money to replace one of those. And I think that's what people sometimes forget, like, those of us who are content creators and we get to drive cars, sometimes people want to see you rag the shit out of it.
Yeah.
But you don't. I mean, I'm lucky that I get to push it a little bit and experience it, but no, we don't do that.
Can you hear that metallic vibration now as we go over each little strip?
So that's
it's like in the rear. You hear it in the rear, right?
I'm wondering if that's not like I do. That sounds very strut related. It sounds like the top hat or something might be a little loose, or like I do hear that.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay. That to me sounds like it's suspension related.
Okay.
Like the top hat on the strut.
Yeah.
It almost sounds like it's vibrating against the spring a little bit. In my like amateur mechanic opinion. But then when we drive the car, I don't notice any.
No, there's no obvious.
But I do hear that.
You hear it when you hit a sharp, like a strip.
No, I also know I have my bag in the back, and it's
That's not that.
Okay.
Full guarantee, because it does it all the time.
All right. It seems to be suspension related. You see, now we're on a smoother stretch where I'm right hearing it.
You don't hear it.
It almost sounds like there's a rattle up on the top hat. I shouldn't say top hat. There's a rear shock mount. It could be a failing rear shock mount, or yeah, this has been a blast to drive. Thank you. I can't wait to like formally kind of do some reviews. And But I feel like it's an easier car to jump into and drive than the 993. And I think for me, what was hard with the 993 is like you can't help but get nervous when you drive someone else's car, especially when it's over $100,000. So I think for me, it wasn't so much that I couldn't drive the clutch, it was like, let's just baby it.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've pushed this one a little bit harder than I did the 993, but yeah. When your car's at home or on a CR-V and an E30 and an E46 M3, it's like... But yeah, this is a beautiful car to drive. It's easy to drive. It's very fast. You don't really need anything faster. Like, it is actually, if you were to push it, it is too fast for the road. But that's also what makes it a lot of fun. Is it's so effortless. The acceleration is just too easy in this car. And I don't height, maybe an inch shorter. But it was like one in his E36 M3.
Right, yeah.
His head is up here. And it was rather laughable. It's like, wow. Yes, he's short like me. And you know, I don't sometimes realize how short I am until I'm like standing next to you or Greg or somebody else. I'm like, that sucks. But then when we're talking, I always tell people, like, when it comes to sports cars and stuff, I can fit into any of them.
That's true.
There's not one sports car ever, and we're talking like the Elise or the Exige or a K-Drum, or I can fit in that car.
Yeah.
Others, it's going to be a little bit of a struggle. Well, that was a quick drive back.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the camera.
Must be. All right. Well, it's been a fun.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, guys.
I'm gonna
We'll put some montages.
turn this off now.